Hello YouTube, this is Ben Gessel. How's it going? I'm going to make one more video at least tonight, and looking at, I think this is like March 12th, 2018, pretty late in the evening. So I was going to go through, mention some things about music composers that I have written down here. So again, favorite pieces, favorite composers. Some I'm becoming even more familiar with, or a little bit somewhat newer for me. Then I'll mention my absolute favorites here in just a bit. So I already know. I'm just gonna start with these classical. The first half is me classical folks, and then later on is film and popular, that sort of thing. I already knew about Vaughan-Williams. I've known about him for a long time. I've loved his music, absolutely, absolutely love it. The thing about Vaughan-Williams is that a lot of people don't know how much of his music is both very English countryside, just like Elgar and Butterworth, that sort of thing. It's just so there's so much. It's like you can go to England for free, almost listening to Vaughan-Williams. I'll put it that way. We're talking England, Wales, also. You could probably include the whole British Isles here, somewhat, but I mean, Western England, absolutely. There's gently rolling hills and meadows, and sheep here and there, and beautiful trees and little streams. It's just, yeah, it's all there. But a lot of people also don't realize how John Williams probably was inspired by Vaughan-Williams and some of his symphonies. Symphony number 2, I think, in particular, 2 or 3, probably 2. Symphony number 2 has sections that are very Indiana Jones-ish, but more in kind of that, more in the academic vein. Anytime you have more of a scholarly kind of moment in Indiana Jones, this is very ties right in with Ray Vaughan-Williams' music, kind of thing. So it has this kind of ancient, epic kind of quality. Maurice Ravel. Of course, I haven't mentioned, hopefully I haven't mentioned as much about each of these composers as much as I'm mentioning right now. But Maurice Ravel, I should mention also that Vaughan-Williams studied with a lot of these French composers, and it's one of the reasons why there's some certain similarities maybe you can hear between the French guys and Vaughan-Williams, like Ravel, that sort of thing. But Maurice Ravel really he's a fancy guy, right? He had very fancy tastes and things, and I absolutely love his music. He always combined very beautiful, varied harmony. So many kinds of harmonies that he uses. I mean, just his harmonies and he knows how to use very, very sophisticated harmonies, and it's not just, of course, it's how he blends the harmonies together. He knows how to use arpeggios. It outlines some very interesting scales and harmonies, and he goes right into it seamlessly into another, chord after chord. It's like it's a musical feast, more on the fruit end, I'd say, or very, very appetizing food, to say the least. It's just a feast for the ears. Very, very, I always picture colors when I'm hearing Debussy and Ravel. But Ravel is all, his music is just, it stays with. It's not necessarily the most melodic of music, and he himself was very critical of his own music. I'd say, whatever he was lacking in melody at times, which I don't think he really was lacking in melody, but compared to the German composers that he, felt maybe not quite as great as. I mean, it's okay if you have such a mastery of orchestration, how to use instruments and color and harmony. If you think you have weaker melodies, but it just, yeah. I mean, it sets Ravel above so many other composers. I mean, just it's amazing. So I'm listening more to him, and Johannes Brahms is making a little bit more of a strides in my own mind, and I have a few thoughts, as I would say witty or as artsy as Ravel could be, and I like Ravel. He'd like to be somewhat, I think, I don't know if I use the word aloof, but again, I'll use the word artsy for Ravel. Now, Brahms, I know, he has a lot of different sides to him. I think that it's easy to see someone who's very kind and sensitive, that sort of, and very, um, yeah, a good man. It's easy to see these qualities, but Brahms also had other qualities. I think he tried to work on his less than great qualities. I just think it's important that when we learn of these things about Brahms, and there are some things that maybe aren't so great about him, but we try to keep private. When we learn about these things, we shouldn't think that they're the better part of his character. I still think the better part of his character is good, of course. So I think it's easy to make a mountain out of molehill a little bit, or gosh, I mean, I know, I think I understand. Every composer has a little bit different kind of thing going on, but he had a very low opinion of women right off the bat, just working at a brothel, a whorehouse, basically, in Hamburg, Germany, when he was younger, and just to support his family. So, because of that experience alone, it really did kind of shape a lot of things in his life somewhat. So I think there's just a lot of things that, and yes, Brahms could be, he actually he was known to have a little bit of an arrogant side as well sometimes, or he just didn't have a lot of patience for composers that weren't quite in his league, or that, maybe he just didn't understand the music as well, for whatever reason. But Brahms noticed the good melody when he heard it, or these really strong melodies. I know he loved Beethoven. So, but yeah, I like Brahms. I mean, all four of his symphonies are really great. They sometimes have the misfortune of being kind of lumped in with the academic thing, right? You listen to these pieces of music which you're studying in college, music in college, But I still think that there are times when his music breaks free of that. So Elgar loved Brahms as well. Elgar's influences, of course, were Brahms as well as a French composer, Leo Delibes, and of course Wagner, I think, but and other composers as well, sure. But he did study Brahms' music a lot, Elgar, and so you hear in Elgar, but more are they kind of breaking away from strong Germanic tradition, and Brahms is part of that tradition. But even in Brahms, you do hear moments where it gets a little more heartfelt, right? A little less, okay, nose to grindstone kind of German, solid pieces, right? Solid melodies. Anyway, so Elgar, just mentioning him, I still, even though the number of pieces that I think are really amazing that he wrote, they're not quite as numerous as some other composers. I still love Elgar. It's yeah, I mean, he's one of these composers known about for a long time as well. Yeah, definitely thumbs up for Elgar, absolutely. George Butterworth. I know, like everyone else, I feel like he should have kept living, right? I know, and there's a lot of these TV programs. I think they're really great, and miniseries that have to do with World War One, especially in World War Two, set in England. And I think those are very interesting, and I absolutely think that a lot. I would recommend certain programs to you guys that have to do. There's so many of them. I mean, maybe it's because there's so many of them that maybe we don't always think so highly of those kinds of programs, but I think it can do wonders. And there's some great BBC TV shows out there that have to do with the wars and things. But I like George Butterworth, of course, still, very much so. Gabriel Fauré also does. I'm gonna try to get try not to spend too long on these guys and getting a little long-winded here. Sorry. Claude Debussy, still great. Morton Lauridsen, still great. Rachmaninoff, absolutely. Howard Hansen, Tchaikovsky, Alexander Borodin, John Rutter. John Rutter, by the way, I still think he's an amazing person. there are certain things that he does that I think are a little bit. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't say that different from what a lot of the composers do. Um, well, for instance, I don't know. There's certain things that I guess again he just does that I see as being more. I'm trying to think of the word here. Well, I don't know. He just has little sides to his personality that I think are still great and fine, but are a little bit unique. I'll put it that way. Yeah, but still, he's still a very good man, very kind man. But uh, he's very scholarly, very very knowledgeable. I'll put it this way. I would pity the person who got on his bad side, or the person that he would chastise, because I mean he'd probably cut a person in two. I can't see him doing. I mean, it'd be very rare occasion that he would do that. But man, I mean, he is such a good man. But he has. Well, I'll let you guys figure out what that is. I'm referring to a lot of things he does that are a little different. But it's John Rutter. I mean, hey, he's one of the best choral composers of all time. He's done a lot of choral orchestra things as well. So I just love him to death. I mean, I can't say anything negative about him. I know he has certain things that again they're a little bit different, and whatever. So whatever. So Gustav Holst, yeah, I still love Holst. I know again, like Elgar, maybe what he wrote was amazing, but maybe it wasn't the number of pieces he wrote. I mean, Elgar even wrote quite a few more pieces that are just amazing compared to Holst. But of course, Holst's big piece, The Planets, right, kind of speaks for itself. It's really impressive. Edvard Grieg, still should listen more to his stuff, some more. But again, to me, it's gonna be hard to get away from the Peer Suite, and yeah, some other kind of similar things like that. It's like Prokofiev and Peter and the Wolf. In Prokofiev's case, though, of course, he wrote so much more music on top of that you don't always remember that he did, but you know about Peter and the Wolf. With Grieg's case, in the Hall of the Mountain King or Peer Gynt Suites is in the morning. Piece. I mean, yeah, some composers are kind of dominated. There's certain pieces that kind of dominate the train of thought there. I know. Holberg Suite, of course, I like a lot with Grieg. Frederick Delius, so awesome. Satie, great. Henrik Gorky. With Henrik Gorky, I think it's trying to think of the word here. The first thing that comes to my mind is he's very Polish Catholic. I mean, everything his music just kind of revolves around religion that way. I'm very moved by him. I think I'm very, very. I like Mr. Gorky quite a bit. His personality and everything. I suppose that might be one of the reasons why I think so highly of his music. And maybe his music is very great, but the question is this as great as Chopin's music? I mean, it's a question of who's the greatest Polish composer. I think most people probably might say Chopin. But I can still see the argument in Gorky's favor as well. Kind of, no, it's probably Chopin, I think. But his music is very moving. Gorky's music, a little bit heavier and more chorally oriented. And of course, there's Arnold Bax, very stormy. Ascagni, and Wagner. Yes, I know. And you can like Wagner's music and not be. Okay. All right. Beethoven, sure. Scriabin. Now, Scriabin, he's written a lot of music, a lot of it, and I keep finding these gems. But the thing about Scriabin is that his pieces are just so long. I mean, it's just. He wrote these big, huge works. I mean, that's all he did probably was write music. I mean, eat, drink, and sleep and write music. I don't know. Igor Stravinsky, yes, still great. Kind of varied and kind of academic some of it. I mentioned Prokofiev, Robert Schumann, of course, is like Norman Dello Joyo, of course. Vincent Persichetti for band music, yeah. Modest Mussorgsky, Hubert Parry is coming out, In addition to Jerusalem, I played some other music by him recently that was pretty stirring, very British, Um, Wilhelm Stenhammer. I'm going to try to hear more of his music in the future. Ernest Chausson, Assay, Delibes, Mendelssohn, Puccini, Sanson. Um, and there's others, Crawford Gates, Arthur Bliss, Rimsky-Korsakov, of course, Scheherazade, Eugene Englert, Percy Granger, Samuel Barber, Alan Hovanes, David Diamond, Paul Creston. Creston's a little different, I know. It's somewhere. It's like half in the world of triads and tonality, and half in the world of bitonality, polytonality, and some other avant-garde kinds of things. Respighi, Nilsson, Smetana, Dvorak, absolutely. I don't have the patience sometimes to hear an entire Mahler symphony in its entirety. I mean, just anything over an hour has to be amazing. We're approaching it. Emil Darzins for his false melancholique. Yeah, I mean, One Piece kind of puts him on the map for me. I mean, but you guys should study Mr. Darzins from Latvia, Emil Darzins. Yeah, I've been trying not to mention too much about him right now, but you guys might find some interesting things about this gentleman. Yeah. So anyway, there's some other guys in here. Of course, Bockenhandel, Hellman, Henry Purcell. Okay, going on to some of the film and pop guys that I'm listening to still, and I'm very fond of Michael Lewis because of his work on, especially on The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, animated movie from 1978. George Fenton, especially because of course, working on Shadowlands with C.S. Lewis. Both those guys. And there's so many of these film composers that are outstanding composers, but it all depends on every project's a little different, and with film guys you have to keep in mind that they're trying to work with a director, and so sometimes they're even better composers than maybe we realize, just because maybe it's just a question of what projects they've been working on. Gianni Marchetti, of course, John Williams is a no-brainer. I still love him. John Barry, absolutely. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, I think, is so underrated still. David Foster for pop music. I think his stuff is amazing. Michel Legrand, Burt Bacharach, Jerry Goldsmith. I'm getting more into his stuff a little bit by bit. Becoming more familiar with the movies that he was a composer for. Lalo Schifrin's a huge name right now. I'm really getting a lot more into his stuff, as well as Leonard Rosenman. Reg Tilsley, of course, still. Richard Bellis, I think his name. Yep. Yeah, he did the music to Stephen King's It, the miniseries, not the recent one, the old one. Richard Bellis. Bruce Broughton, of course. I love Mr. Broughton. Absolutely. Very cool. Elmer Bernstein, Alexei Azevedo for Mormon or LDS musicals and sort of thing, movies. Ennio Morricone, Nino Rota, Bill Conti, Sylvain Chomet. Again, some of these French names I'm sure butchering, but I think you get the idea. He did The Triplets of Belleville, at least he's a director for that, but he's written some music as well for The Illusionist, that sort of thing. Sometimes he's both director and a composer. Brian Bennett, definitely. And Piero Umiliani, Claudio Caponi, and Alessandro Vlad for the Jane Eyre movie music. Howard Shore, sure. Maurice Jarre. Michael Honig for Baldur's Gate. Still, I love Michael Honig. Absolutely. Henry Mancini, James Horner. Christopher Young. Yep. Alan Silvestri. And the new guy is a gentleman. His name is it's this. I think this is a Brazilian name, so I'm probably going to mispronounce it. Umir Deodato. So he was behind a lot of bands in the '70s. There, one of the backup composers, and I don't know what he did exactly, but he's worked with Kool and the Gang, and there's others as well. But very good composer from Brazil, very much so. Deodato. Parker McGee, of course, for country-ish stuff. Sergio Mendes. Tom Jobim, Antonio. Close. Okay, Alessio. Okay, Alessandroni. Some of these Italian guys. I know. I'm still writing stuff down, but Richard Rogers is certainly still. There's some anime composers I'm becoming more familiar with now that I think are pretty awesome as well. Guy's last name is Yuruma, and another gentleman's last name is it's Yoshiaki Dewa. So Yuruma, I'm not sure his first name is. It's from Korea, actually. Sorry, and Yoshiaki Dewa is Japanese. But yeah, their stuff, certainly also along with the Joe Hisaishi. Yeah, okay, so there's some growing talent in Asia. It's really good to see. Really good to see. Hamilton Hardy, Bruce Rowland, Tolga Sunter. It has something to do with the music from the Secret Garden. It's quite good. Some of it's I haven't heard for a while, but okay. The Sherman Brothers for Disney music, of course. Levy and Sabin, Jewish composers. I think they did He-Man and some other ones. There's a lot of cartoon type themes. Randy Newman, it's pretty good. Heinz Kiesling, along with Sid Dale. So kind of TV music, stock music, or library music, right? Michael Kamen, Alan Hawkshaw, Randy Edelman, Sam Carden, Michael McLean, of course, LDS, Bernard Herrmann, Max Steiner, I think it's Alexander Desplat. Is it Desplat or Desplat? I'll go with Desplat. Yeah, I know he's a newer composer from France. He's not bad. He's okay. I don't know. Yeah, he's maybe not one of the best, but he's pretty good. Of course, there's Ernst Korngold, Alfred Newman, Miklosa Rosa, and Mark Knopfler. Also, Mike Post, the American Hero, Greatest American Hero, the theme from the A-Team, and that sort of thing. But those are some of there's a big list of guys here, I know. And so of all those guys, I still love most for classical composers, Chopin, Howard Hansen, sorry, Tchaikovsky, Morton Larson, John Rutter, Ray Vaughan-Williams, Claude Debussy, and also Maurice Ravel, Handel, Bach, I mentioned, and also of course Sergei Rachmaninoff and Sir Edward Elgar. Edward Elgar. Okay. So, and then for composers, film composers, right? Still John Williams, John Barry, Jerry Goldsmith, Ennio Morricone, Sid Dale, Alexei Azevedo, Lalo Schifrin, and Lemon Roseman, Michel Legrand, Burt Bacharach, yep, and David Foster and Michael McLean. So all my favorites. Also kind of like Kenneth Cope and stuff. Some other guys, but those are some of my favorites right now. But there's still others that are gonna come up here and there that in the future that I'm gonna be checking out. It's just that sometimes I explored a lot of my favorite music so much. I still try to find new stuff that's great, and interesting. But there are times when a period of time goes by with nothing new. I can't find anything new, so I kind of keep digging into the classical world, and okay, that's okay. You kind of still have that. Kind of everything's kind of mediocre. And then there are times I come along and go, oh my gosh, I totally found some new guys, right? And it's amazing. It's hard to describe the feeling when you find a composer that you really like their music, or you find something about it that's really amazing. You don't want to stop listening, and it's almost as great as meeting a girl that you really are really attracted to and find amazing. It's getting in that arena almost, but it's, I think, you know, I can be rather defensive about my favorite composers. I've realized that. And, you know, I should still be open to everybody saying things about composers. And, you know, I mean, we should expect, you know, that some people are you know, everybody's different. But, you know, of course, the reason why I'm so defensive about some of these composers has a lot to do with the way I felt when I've heard their music and what I know about them. And I just, you know, I have this elite. You feel it's like someone that tells you that Michael Jordan was an adulterer or something not so great. And you're like, what? I know Dennis Rodman is a wild man, but Michael Jordan, you know, kind of thing. It's kind of along those lines with composers. When someone says again, they know something really, some composers not as much of a godly person as you think they were, and you know, not that great of a person. And you want to say, what, you know, and you have to kind of come to your own conclusion as to where you stand on some composers. Sometimes there's some things you hear that you can't deny. You can't deny they're true, but then you have to kind of go, wait a minute, you know, what was really going on here? Can I cut this guy some slack? I think a lot of people don't cut Richard Wagner very much slack. That's understandable, but I think that there are a lot of composers that maybe we should cut them a bit more slack if we find out something that's not so great about them. That's my feeling about that anyway. But yes, I've had a gentleman, I think it's a guy, didn't like my thoughts on different composers. What can you do? You know, I still have my opinions. You guys can have yours, and I have to respect your opinions as well. But I have my own. There are reasons why I prefer certain composers over others. That's likely to kind of evolve over time. It's fine if you want to mention, you know, I mean, definitely tell me anything you want to. Sometimes I'm hungry for, I need some comments, something. And if it's negative, at least it's a comment, you know. But I'd love to hear from you guys. So by all means, leave me your thoughts and comments below. I'll catch you guys later. Thanks.